Thank you, Senator, and I'll be very brief here today. You lined that up excellently, how we've gotten here today, and I would just add about this hours directive that it clearly violates state law. State law says that we have to have early voting at least on Monday, and to not allow it makes this an illegal directive, and it just will make it harder for Ohioans to vote. You know, for the better part of a decade, I've been studying this issue of voting and election laws, and I've spent a lot of time highlighting the real problems in Ohio elections. The problems we had with long lines in 2004, which is why we adopted early voting in the first place, to allow all of these days for early voting. The problems we have with purging voters from the registration rolls. The problems we have with throwing out people's votes, which, if your vote's not counted, you are disenfranchised in Ohio. And my Republican colleagues are unmoved by the evidence that we present to them, by the facts, and by all the work we have done highlighting these real problems in Ohio elections. And it's really become a race to the bottom. It's very clear that they want to make it harder to vote. Secretary Houston wants to make it harder to vote by cutting off opportunities in his directive for Ohioans to vote early on all of the days that they are entitled to vote early. Discussions about modernizing our system, that's an excuse you often hear from the Republicans about their reforms. What's more modern than online voter registration? Yet they have failed to get that done. It was introduced over a year ago in both chambers. You hear uniformity put forward, but it seems they only want uniformity when it cuts off early voting or limits voting, not when it comes to actually counting people's votes and the actual experience that people in different counties have voting. And also you'll hear them talk about accuracy, but we have a lot of votes that are thrown out wrongfully, and it's not accurate. An election is not accurate when you're throwing out tens of thousands of people's votes. So this is a climate right now that is very unfortunate for the voters of Ohio to have 3 voter suppression bills moving through the legislature quickly in the past week, and now this directive from Secretary Houston that cuts early voting time and makes it harder for Ohioans to vote.